It's week 3 and we're cashing each and every week on Draft Kings. Got some more banger picks for you this week. Let's get it. Let's start off with the quarterbacks. Now at the top tier, we have Patrick Mahomes at 7,900. Mahomes should have plenty of opportunities to scorch this defense. There shouldn't be much of a problem putting up points against this defense, as both the Texans and Jaguars both put up points against these guys. If you're wanting to pay up at quarterback, Mahomes would be my choice in week 3. Now for the mid tier, let's go ahead and say just right now who my favorite quarterback is this week. That's Matthew Stafford at 6,500. Stafford gets to take on a defense in the Cardinals who has given up the 3rd most DK points to opposing quarterbacks. This should be a glorious fireworks show for the Rams. Being able to only have to pay $6,500 for this type of production that's going to be given to you, that's a steal. Lock in Stafford for the majority of your lineups and be happy you did. Now at the low tier, we have Marcus Mariota at 5,500. If you're wanting to spin down, I wouldn't go any lower than Mariota. Mariota takes on a Seattle defense who lost Jamal Adams for the season, and Mariota should be able to take advantage of this defense. If you're looking to spend up on other positions, Mariota should have a high floor and be your quarterback for this week. Now let's go ahead and move over to the running back position, and the top tier running back for this week is going to be Jonathan Taylor at 9,000. Now I'm not worried one bit about his lackluster performance in week 2. This week he takes on the Kansas City Chiefs, who have given up the 5th most DK points to opposing running backs. The Colts are just a pitiful team thus far, but Jonathan Taylor is the one bright spot on this offense. Taylor should be used heavily in this game. If you're paying up, look to Jonathan Taylor. Now on to our middle tier, and let's talk about DeAndre Swift at 7,200. Swift gets a decent matchup against a high-powered Vikings offense. There should be some points put up in this game, and if the Lions are wanting to keep up with the Vikings, they're going to need Swift in this game. If you're looking at a mid-tier running back, look no further than DeAndre Swift in week 3 and settle on that high floor he's going to give you. For our low tier, let's go ahead and talk about Damien Pierce at 5,000. Now we finally got to see a solid workload for Pierce in week 2 when he had 15 carries. Now he gets a Bears team who I believe isn't as good as the Texans. I have the Texans projected as a positive game script, which does bode well for Pierce. If you can land a starting running back who will be getting 15 plus opportunities at 5,000, I think that's amazing value. Chalk up Pierce at worst case scenario in your flex. Now we're moving on to the top tier wide receivers. Let's go ahead and talk about Cooper Kupp at 9,900. I mean, do I really need to sell you on the best fantasy receiver in football? I mean, this week he gets a very juicy matchup against the Cardinals, who seem to allow offense to do whatever they want against them. So I see Kupp eating this week, and the hefty 9,900 price tag is easy to pay when you know the production will be there. Now on to the middle tier with Christian Kirk at 6,200. Kirk is getting the consistent production you want from a number 1 wide receiver. Trevor Lawrence uses Kirk as his go-to guy, and now they're going up against a Los Angeles Chargers team who should be able to put up some numbers. This could turn into being a big game for Kirk, who should see plenty of work in this game just to keep pace with the Chargers. Finally, let's go over the low tier with Chris Olave at 4,500. Olave is somebody who I am extremely high on this week. I'm not looking at his production from last game as much as I'm looking at his 13 targets from last game. On multiple of those targets, he was thrown to 30 plus yards down the field. Chris Olave had over 300 air yards last game, which is incredible. If he is able to connect with some of those throws and catches, Olave should be a steal at 4,500. Now on to our top tier player at tight end, and we're going to talk about Travis Kelce at 7,900. He's getting a prime matchup against the Colts, who have thus far allowed the 6th most DK points to opposing tight ends. Patrick Mahomes will be guns blazing after having a subpar performance last week against the Chargers. Look for Kelce to be the benefit of a pass-heavy offense against the Colts. Our mid-tier player at tight end is Gerald Everett at 4,400. Everett is very involved in the offense, having 10 targets last week. At a mid-range of 4,400, to have the consistency that Everett brings is invaluable. If you're looking to take a lighter approach to tight end in week 3, look no further than Everett at 4,400. Now on to our low-tier player, which is tight end Logan Thomas at 3,500. Now, Thomas has been a staple of my teams the first couple weeks. He is now starting to rise each week with maybe 100 or 200 price increase, but at 3,500 you can't beat the value that he still gives you on a weekly basis. If you spent up in other places and need a cheap tight end to plug and play, Logan Thomas is your guy. Now on to the Bengal Tiger start of the week. Our Bengal Tiger start of the week is Garrett Wilson at 5,400. Joe Flacco has completely zoned in on rookie Garrett Wilson, catching 8 of 14 targets for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. We are starting to see why Wilson was drafted so high. Wilson gets to take on a Bengals team that's kind of in a slump right now, and I see Wilson once again ready to wreak some havoc. I'm locking and loaded Wilson in all of my lineups. As always, thank you for watching the video. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button, consider hitting that subscribe button. We're dropping all types of videos throughout the week, whether it's regular fantasy football, starts, sits, Thursday previews, waiver wire, or just if you want to deal with Draft Kings, who to put in your lineups, who not to put in your lineups, going over all this analysis for you guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.